you, and can I share what I experienced through sitting here with you, listening to your experience. So it becomes, can you see how that becomes a bit of a dance? And this is how you're affecting me, and this is what, what's it like for you to be sitting here with me, telling you what I feel about you. It's a beautiful dance.
Yeah, and also I guess the idea of the relating, that's the only way we can really know who we are.
Yes, without assuming.
Yeah, I'm hoping that makes sense. I'm not sure I'm explaining that properly.
Yes, you are, because we're always in relation. We are in relation to, the table, in relation to the computer, in relation to the friends, and we're always in relation. So the way we get to learn about ourselves and who we are is through that relation. What is that person reflecting back? And what parts are we accepting? What parts are we denying about ourselves?
Yeah, I'm wondering as well, because I'm just thinking what's the difference between going to a psychologist and not going to one?
Well, this is like my rant though, because I've trained in London. In London, I had to do over 150 hours of therapy myself. So I really had to, go through all of my stuff with someone else. But in Australia, you don't have to do therapy as part of your training. So I get a little bit scared because I see a lot of psychologists that haven't resolved their own stuff working with very vulnerable people. And I'm like, oh, you're just projecting your stuff onto them, and you're just using assessment tools and putting labels onto them and giving them medication. So it kind of freaks me out a little bit. But saying that, it's always helpful to sit across someone and just tell them what's going on for you, and that person say, okay, so have you thought about this, or how can we work with this, or have you thought about that? And kind of, for me, it felt like I give you my story and you just help me to connect the pieces together. But everyone's experience is different.
Have you found the way that you respond, I guess, not only to clients but just to people in life in general, has changed a lot through your knowledge of yoga?
Yes, because I feel that before, my chi, my energy, using the so much chi terms, it's like really up in the heart and the head. And sometimes even if I'm in a yoga class, I'm trying to direct my chi with my breath down to my sacral chakra. And if I'm more grounded, I can be more in my heart, because if the heart wants to open, it has no base, it has no grounding, it's not really going to open, it's going to shut down. And if I feel more grounded, and if I can trust my grounding, and again, using that so much expression of the grounding, then it gives you the courage to open your heart and to relate, just by being your authentic self. And before yoga, I think I noticed a lot of game playings and people reading from scripts, and you're just following society's rules and expectations, and what does society want from me? What do my parents want from me? It's like, I'm going to get married, have kids. But with yoga, it's like, right, this is me. And it's like standing naked. When you're teaching a class, it's like you're standing naked in front of people. And and unapologetically who you are. And the more grounded you feel, the more your heart will open, and the more you're going to feel like you can trust the path.
I love that, because it's like opening up your vulnerabilities.
Yes,
when you're being authentically you, there's nothing hiding that anymore.
Yes, because we are the body. We are the body. We don't have the body. We are the body. We are we are our heart. We don't have a heart. We are the heart. And that becomes more like a somatic embodiment practice.
And before, you were mentioning that when you were, you'd done your teacher training and you didn't think you could be a yoga teacher, and you had those thoughts come up, like, who am I to be a yoga teacher? Did that also shift because I mean, you're obviously now coming out and being that, you know, embodying that vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And following my joy. It's I love, and sometimes if I had a bad day and I go and teach a class, and it's just like that gift of service,
Mm.
being of service to other people. And I've just, it's an offering. Sometimes I have great classes, sometimes I have really bad classes, sometimes I have a class that I thought was rubbish and people love it. And it's like, right, this is an offering. I'm just going to offering my practice because I'm offering my practice, and either you
Mm.
resonate with it or you don't resonate with it.
Mm.
But I just feel like it just fed my soul so much just to be able to offer that, because I know how much yoga has changed my life.
Mm.
And as I noticed the transformation in people's lives, just by even like, being able to touch the toes. It's like, oh my God, I can touch my toes. It's like, it's so beautiful to watch that growth. Yeah.
I still
And
haven't
being
gotten
part of that. Oh, you get there. You're getting there.
I can bend my knees and touch my toes, but
Yes, that's it. That's perfect. Yeah, perfect. And knowing, like, because we get to learn about our own limitations, other people's limitations, and how to work with that.
Mm. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, good. I thought it cut out. Um, yeah, and I just touching on that and people's limitations,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone
Mm-hmm.
is individual and we all have limitations, you know, in our own
Mm-hmm.
unique places. Um,
Yes.
can you shed any light on that? Like, is there any connection between, you know, if I can't touch my toes,
Mm-hmm.
like, is
Mm-hmm.
there a connection to some, like, you know, the physical body to the emotional body and
Mm-hmm.
beyond? Have you noticed any sort of themes, I guess, themes?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's such a big question. Like, you could write books and books on that. Wow. Well, we all carry, I don't like to use the word trauma because trauma
Mm,
implies that things should be fixed. But we carry like disconnection or cut-off points in different parts of our body. So for a long time, because I had brain surgery, I disconnect from my neck up, but then again I was living in my head. So I just felt like I can't never do a handstand because my brain was still adjusting after brain surgery. So I cut off. And it's actually, the more you breathe into the body, the more you let go of the stories. Because I don't know, I think it was Paul Grady, but someone said that how our issues are not tissues. And it's
yeah.
true. Yeah, yeah. The more we unravel, then the mind is going to conjure up stories. And sometimes you don't have to know the story. Sometimes just releasing the emotions around that fascia, the emotion
Mm,
that's been trapped there for so long. And
mm,
then we let it go. And then maybe we'll go a little bit deeper. Maybe we can just stay, we don't have to change the body. We don't have to force anything. And
mm,
what I love about yoga is like, we don't have to force anything. If it's there, great. If it's not there, great. But we're not forcing like something to fit into or to be a certain way. Alignment from the book is going to be very different than your physical body and your physical alignment, but you find your own alignment within the posture. So the stories don't really matter because, well, you're just releasing any emotion, any kind of blocks, any kind of anything that might still be stuck physically in the body, but you don't even have to go into, you don't have to know the story, you don't have to go into the story.
mm. Yeah, do you often um, get students in your class, like if they're really in that space where they're tuning into what they're storing in their fascia, do they, you know, break out in tears or, you know, or you
Yes,
breathe through it?
all the time. Yeah, all the time. I've been in classes before where like I remember doing a lot of psoas release stuff, and I had
Mm-hmm.
to meet a friend, and I got lost, and I got off the bus, and I just sat down on the beach and I cried for an hour, and I didn't know what I was crying about, but I was bawling my eyes out.
Mm.
And then I just go back on the bus, and I just said sorry. I know I'm meant to catch up with this friend, but she was very understanding. I said, no, I just need to. She's like, do you want me to come and get you? I was like, I just need to sit here and cry for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I feel so much better. Like this whole sparkle came back. My eyes were brighter just after the whole cathartic crying. Felt amazing. Felt amazing. I still don't know what I was crying about.
Yes.
Don't need to know. Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best type of crying.
Yes, just sobbing my eyes out for an hour on the beach in the middle of nowhere. And then it's like, oh, right now people coming up to me, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Just leave me alone. I just need to cry.
I will be okay if you leave me alone.
Yes. Yes. The body's got its own wisdom. Its own wisdom. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, and I've had experiences where this usually happens when I'm tired because I don't have any energy to keep those feelings back. Where I'll
Oh,
start crying and then it'll turn into like this hysterical laugh, and then I don't know if I'm crying or laughing anymore.
yes. Yes. I love it. Yeah, it's just that release, 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 release. And sometimes we try to hold it back and just suppress it, but the body it's like, animals, like if it gets attacked, it just shakes it off, shakes it
Mm,
off, shakes it off, and then it moves on from it.
mm. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
also as a society, there's so much, so many beliefs about, crying. Um, and I feel that sometimes maybe that's why we do have so many issues in our tissues, because we haven't had the opportunity to let them go.
Yes, and the mind wants to understand. The body doesn't need to. The body
Mm,
doesn't need to understand. Oh, am I crying anger? Am I crying sadness? The body doesn't care. It just wants to cry. The mind is like, oh, I wanted this to do when I was 5, and this happened, and someone stole my lolly, and this person doesn't want to be
mm.
friends with me anymore. It's like, just let the body release however it needs to.
That's so true. And how do you let go of that need uh, to understand?
Hmm. It's well, I don't think you can. I think the mind's job is to try and make sense of it. It's like that ego. The ego wants to navigate the way around and make sense and try to make a story around it. People can get so attached to their stories, and um, sometimes we can like just accept it. The mind wants to understand. The mind wants to understand. Breathing into acceptance. The mind really needs to understand, but just connect to the body, connect back to the body. And I think awareness is the key. Like, okay, I'm aware the mind really wants to create a story and understand, but
Mm,
that can be there. That can come to the table. That can sit at the table. The mind is welcome to the table. The body's like, you know what? I don't need to explain myself anymore.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes to back to what you were saying
Mhm.
before about, yoga isn't about forcing yourself. So the awareness is
Yeah.
there. You don't have to force that.
Yes, yes. And you probably experienced that with Alice. It's like, well, she doesn't need to understand. She's just expressing. She's just that pure awareness, just
Mm.
pure awareness, just expressing. She doesn't need to understand why she's sad. She's just sad.
Yeah, and I have noticed some kids, like I think when you, especially as a child, when something happens and you're so emotional, that sort of overloads that part of that brain where you can
Mhm.
think logically and explain why you're sad. So a lot of kids, they feel
Oh,
like they need to explain why they're sad, but they can't as well at the same time, because that their brains too overload with the emotions. Um,
yeah. Yes.
and I've
Mm.
noticed also as my daughter's grown older, she's almost learned that she needs to explain why she's sad, and I'm just like, just chill, honey,
Yeah.
just let it go,
Oh,
and then we can talk about it. She's like
yes.
in the middle
Yes.
of tears and trying to talk, and I'm like, just don't
Oh.
worry.
Yeah, I love that because as a society, we'll put like the shame and the guilt on top of feeling bad. And then as the layers start to build up, and it's like, right, I feel sad and I feel bad about feeling sad. Now I'm mad at myself for feeling, and then it starts building up the
Yeah.
layers.
I'm mad that I judged myself for feeling sad because
Yeah,
I'm guilty because
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, and then the guilt and the shame, and then yeah, just building up and building up. And it's like, actually, you know, it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel angry, but we kind of add, especially like label like bad
Mm.
emotions, and we put shame and